You can find the document on the memo from the commissioner. Jonathan Pelto has blogged about it. Wendy Lecker has blogged about it. If you get in touch with Terry Lisa last night, had copies of it and could send it to the site, and so could I. We can give you the link to the document as well.
This is not the document?
No, that's it. I had copies.
That's it.
That's it. We're just saying, there wasn't, we've had copies of all our speeches, our legislative, we didn't make copies of that.
So just to clarify, because I missed a little bit of this, you're saying that there is no opt-out language, and the state is citing on the side that because there's no opt-out language, it means you can't do it, and Deborah, you're saying that because there's no opt-out language, it means you can?
There are no sanctions for opting out. That's what we're told. There are no sanctions. So that would be sort of like saying, well, you know, everybody should drive 55, but if you don't, there's nothing that's going to happen to you. So we'll probably all drive 85, 90, maybe 100, I don't know who you are. But that concept along the way. So we have a federal law that says you should test children annually. That came from NCLB. That's all new concept. And we have statutes that say certain things, but we have absolutely no sanctions. That's what the attorneys are telling us. But what do we have? I'll tell you what we have. Parents have been talking to me. They've been talking to me for over a decade now, but particularly in this past year, as the new SBAC assessments are going in, as they're taking CMTs, as they're taking all kinds of other assessments along the way. What are they telling me? The kids are either practicing, preparing, or taking the test for 8 to 12 weeks. Well, there comes a thing called loss of instructional time. Testing is not teaching. And so what do you have? Let's add that up. By the time I'm in the 6th grade, I've lost 2 to 3 years learning. And we're not asking about this, but what I'm saying is the parents have come to me and said they feel bullied, they feel frustrated, and they feel, like I said about Jason Morris from New London, who opted his daughter out after they left the final meeting where they were given the final letter that says it's against the law, you're not allowed to opt out. And when Jason walked out and his wife said, are we lawbreakers? You know, but there are no sanctions. Jason, the Morris family, is opting out their daughter again this year.
Can I just ask, maybe Deborah, since she's a lawyer, is what steps should a parent do if they want to opt out? What should they do and how should they proceed?
Well, since there is no statute that delineates how to do that, I would recommend, as anyone would, to do it in writing and just send a letter to the school or the person in charge of the principal, superintendent, whoever, to say, my child, I am opting out my child is not, I do not consent to having my child undergo this test. Now, there's an issue with the test in particular that we're talking about right now, and that is, this is not from my understanding, this is not a mastery test. So there is a statute that requires children in certain grades to take a mastery test. This is not a mastery test that we're talking about that Common Core has implemented. This is also not a full-fledged final test. This is a pilot test. The test has not even been finalized. So we're talking about basically experimenting with the children on something that has not been tested. The test hasn't been tested. The test is not a final document. So in that sense, there is no law that requires students to be guinea pigs. And there is no statute that addresses the issue of opting out. But there certainly is a right under several statutes for parents to protect their children. Parents have the fundamental constitutional right in the upbringing and education of their child. And they have the statutory obligation not to neglect or abuse their child. And if they believe someone is neglecting or abusing their child, they have the obligation to protect that child from harm. And so in this instance, when there is no particular statute that sanctions anyone from opting out, or particularly when there are statutes that say you must protect your child from abuse and neglect, I believe that kind of statute and constitutional obligation trumps anything that the State Board of Education is saying without backing the law.
So then, so you send in your letter saying you want to opt out, and the school sends you a letter saying you can't, then what do you do?
Well,
It's in the protocol there.
Yes.
I can tell you from personal experience, from the parents in our district, they send you an email back and/or a letter in the mail saying that they've done it under LEA, they're required to take it, they're not.
Sorry, just speak into the microphone.
That under LEA funding, they're required to take the test, they're not. Then they said if you keep your child home, you'll have a truancy issue and we will have to report you. Then they have said, okay, if you're going to opt your child out, you need to come and pick them up and to remove them from the building every day during testing time. Which, not very few parents can do that. And I was contacted last night after our forum by a mom in the audience who's had to medicate her son due to the anxiety that he is going through over preparing for the test to take the test. And she said, I can't do this to him. He's a little boy. He's 9 years old. What are we teaching our kids? And our district now is not responding to any of the letters. Apparently, according to the parents last night, they've been waiting 2 weeks for a response.
When did you go through this process with the status?
Right now. It's happening right now. Our testing starts Tuesday.
When did you pull your son out of
My son is still officially enrolled in East Haddam. We have not officially pulled him out because we're waiting for testing that they did to come back and have the results. We started the process in September. They started asking questions over the summer to our Director of Pupil Services about accommodations for the testing. The test doesn't have any accommodations, this pilot, for kids who have 504s or IEPs. So you have a child, and then we were told there's no accommodations being made for them. So I said, what are you going to do if the child just can't answer the question? You have to answer the question. You can't go on to the next question until an answer has been submitted. And I said, what happens if they just don't submit an answer? Well, they have to. They have to sit there until they do it. We're going to do this to our children. Well, you have a child that just can't do it. I said, what happens if they get upset and become frustrated? They can leave the room for a few minutes, get a drink, and come back and answer the question.
What's your plan if they don't allow you to opt out?
I've pulled my son. He's now going to a private school. My husband and I have taken out a mortgage on our home to pay, so we have to pay taxes to East Haddam. He's going to a school that doesn't follow Common Core, and as far as assessment goes of the students there, it's based on when my son comes home at night now and is telling me about what happened at school and how exciting it was, and by the constant feedback from his teachers. I love our teachers in East Haddam. I mean, they're our neighbors, they're our friends. It's a very unique district. But they're not allowed to teach. They come to us frustrated. We have a group called Hear Our Voice, which is a group of parents. And we have teachers constantly telling us, I can't teach. I have to teach to the test. Did you pull him out just because of Common Core and Smarter Balance?
That was the number one reason. He came to us and said, I can't do this. I can't sit in front of a computer. And if I don't know the answer, just sit there. I can't do it.
What's the school he's going to now?
The Williams School in New London.
Can I just ask Deborah, now, are you representing parents who are trying to have their kids opt out?
I'm not officially representing them individually at the moment. They asked me to come and speak and give information. But I want to say, if that document that you have in front of you, and the State Department of Education has indicated it is the law in some area, I don't have it in front of me, but they are saying, no, you cannot opt out. Ask the question, on what basis? What is the basis in law that you are saying that? Where does it say in the law that I cannot opt out? That's question number one. And then question number two is, if that indeed is the law, then why are you saying in the end, yes, you can opt out? Where is the basis of law for that? So they're giving two messages supposedly based in law when there isn't any statute backing it up.
So they are saying in the end you can opt out? I mean, if parents go through this process and keep getting back, going back.
Could I, the problem and the reason why we need the kind of statute that Dr. Turner is talking about is there is mass confusion. Superintendents and principals aren't really sure how to respond. So one of the things that they do is every district, depending upon where you are, a parent writes a letter. Some districts are saying, okay, opt out. Other districts are doing the whole rigmarole, letter after letter after letter, and then there are a number of districts where you don't even get an answer. So,
And, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's total frustration. And I think it's frustrating for superintendents, for principals, because the State Department has given this sort of crazy instruction on, sort of how to do it. So we really do need a law that says parents have the option, so it's clear, there's a process, and we can get this done. Sorry.
No, that's okay.